Good afternoon and welcome to the On The Market PLC preliminary results investor presentation. Throughout this recorded presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged, can be submitted at any time using the Q&A tab situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. Simply type in your question and press send. Before we begin, we'd like to submit the following poll. And I'd like to hand you over to Jason Tebb, CEO. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Paul. Thanks so much to you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And if you are familiar with our story, we'll be pleased to give you an update on where we are. But if you are new to our story, hopefully we'll give you some colour as to why to seriously look at onthemarket.com as we talk about our annual results to 31st of January 2023. A quick reminder of our mission statement, very clear, 3 simple words: listening, innovating and delivering. And that sums up our approach to both our customers, our consumers and our staff as well. Just 3 very simple and clear words that sum up our business. My name is Jason Tebb, I'm Chief Executive. I'm joined with me by Simon Bullock, who's our Interim Chief Financial Officer. I'm not here tonight, but has just recently joined in the last couple of weeks, Tom Carter, who's our new permanent Chief Financial Officer. Seeing as he is only 2 weeks into the role, we thought he'd give him a bit of a break, not make him present this evening. But it's great to have Tom on board, and hopefully you guys will get the opportunity to meet him in the future. A quick summary of what we're going to go through today on our agenda. We'll cover off some main highlights, then I'll pass over to Simon for some financial and operational summaries. We'll then move to a strategic update and a summary of where we are in our 4-pillar strategy to operational growth. We'll then talk about how we're going to drive ARPA, average revenue per advertiser. You'll hear a lot about that phrase in the presentation, how we will drive that in the future. We'll finish with some new innovations and things that we're looking at doing both just recently and in the next 6 months as well. And we'll close with a summary and outlook. So let's crack straight on with the highlights. And obviously in the last period, we were delighted to cement our position as the agents portal. We either renewed or continued contracts with some of the largest estate agency groups in the UK, names that even if you're not familiar with the industry, you will recognise on this screen, but also for the first time, really pleased to welcome Foxtons to the platform, and also the Lohman Group, who are a large growth estate agency brand in the UK. So very pleased to have those 2 on board, in addition to those very loyal customers who've been with us for a long period of time and continue to do so into the future. I've highlighted 3 main milestones in our journey here. This was at our launch in 2015, the period just after our IPO, and the period that we're reporting on, FY23. And you can see, without going through each of those in too much detail, significant growth up in terms of overall site traffic and visits, the number of valuation leads, which are very important to agents. I'll come back to that later. And of course, the number of advertisers to the platform as well. And also crucially, from a revenue perspective, on the second row down, the movement from after IPO, we moved to onboard a load of agents on free of charge contracts, and then we converted those agents over time. So that's how we managed to pretty much double those advertisers. But then we moved this free period, and over the subsequent 4 years, we worked really hard to be able to move those agents from free onto paying contracts, which demonstrates that they perceive value in the service that we offer. And very pleased to see that as the last reporting period, 93% of agency branches were under paying contracts. We're developing our 4-pillar strategy, and this is it on the screen. 4 very clear pillars of operational growth for the future, with an evolution of the 4th pillar, but I'll come to that shortly. Portal will always remain front and center of everything we do. OnTheMarket.com generates 20 million plus site visitors a month. That puts us well inside the top 100 most visited websites in the UK, not just property sites, but all sites. And we regularly sit within place 40 to 50. So really good traction and good consumer awareness. Our second pillar is software, really developing key products and platforms that agent customers would need. And we've developed in the period our own CRM solution, which we'll come on to later. The third pillar is data and market intelligence, using the wealth of data that we have to provide additional value to our customers, but also to help onboard new customers as well as generate new revenue opportunities. And the fourth pillar, a slight evolution of the pillar, consumer communication and monetization. This is important because this time last year at our annual reports, I said that we would look into consumer monetization strategies to leverage that 20 million site visits a month to find new ways to generate revenue from consumers for us, but also to help our agent customers generate revenue for themselves. And I'm pleased to say that we have executed that. We're just starting to dip our toe into the water in terms of consumer monetization, and I will come into it in a bit more detail. These 4 pillars drive this two-sided network effects, consumers and customers. The more consumers visit the site, the more leads are generated, which means the more customers see value in our product and service. That in turn helps to benefit those customers, both agents and house builders, and allows us to onboard new house builders and agents coming to the platform for the first time, which in turn therefore gets more network effects and encourages more consumers to see more content on the site. So it's a cyclical process, and these network effects are driven by the 4-pillar strategy that we have. I will pause briefly and I will hand over to Simon, who will go through some of the financial and operational highlights.
Super. Thanks, Jason. Good afternoon, everybody. Just a brief financial overview. Revenues up 4.2 million or 14% on the year. Within that, the agents business grew 2.3 million, 9%. New homes grew by 1.5 million pounds, up 60%. And for those doing the maths, the balance is the on-the-market software that grew by 0.4 million or 67%. We're going to turn to each of those in a moment. Jason's already mentioned ARPA, and again, we'll come on to this in more detail, but it's great to see that our ARPA has grown by 12% from £188 to 210. And the final thing to draw out on here for now is our EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, an industry standard profitability measure. A healthy flow through from revenue, £2.2 million growth in EBITDA, and our EBITDA margin growing from 19% to 23%. Turning now to some operational metrics, 3 things I'd like to draw out here. First is bottom left is the 26% growth in valuation leads. Valuation leads are key for this business. The second thing to draw out is just above that, the 123% growth. This is more products. So this is all around revenue diversification. And again, you're going to hear some more of that a little later. And finally, to draw out bottom right, 6.8%. This is our conversion rate. And this is really around quality, not quantity. And again, you'll hear through the presentation a little bit more about serious property seekers. Turning now to revenue and ARPA. So this is the revenue detail that I gave earlier. Within that, our agency ARPA is up by 12%, and our new homes ARPA is up by 32%. 2 other things here I think are key. One, we're going to come back to new homes ARPA shortly, but the other thing that, again, Jason will mention a little later is some exciting opportunities around product packages and how that we're going to use that to drive our ARPA growth. Next chart here focuses on the agent side of the business. So this is again around more people buying more products. We now have around 30% of our agents taking at least one additional product. Only in 2020 was as low as 1%. So this is a massive increase in terms of performance improvement there. On this chart, just to touch on new homes, if we assume that the number one player, the dominant player is the market, then we've, in a relatively short period, 2 to 3 years, we've effectively gained 92% of the market, of the market leader. New homes is really exciting, particularly when the average revenue per advertiser, again, the ARPA for new homes, for us, it's lower than our estate agency business. But again, if you looked at the market, dominant market leader, actually new homes ARPA is significantly higher. So this just gives you a flavour of actually the size of the opportunity that potentially we have with the new homes business. And finally, just on overall cash and working capital, we have a healthy cash balance of had 11.3 million in the bank at the end of Jan. We had 11.4 million in the bank at the end of June. We have no debt and continue to have no debt. And we have, if any of you have read the financials, you'll see that there's an operating cash flow. We have very strong cash conversion. So again, our earnings in terms of our EBITDA turning into cash, that conversion is very high. So, overall strong cash position, good working capital, healthy balance sheet, good trading performance. So the year under review was, by all accounts, a record year. With that, I'll hand back to JT.
Great. Thank you very much, Simon. And so let's move on to a strategic update on a bit more detail around the 4-pillar strategy that we mentioned earlier. The first is very clear on Portal, and we are aiming to build the best property search site in the UK. In the period, we released 2 major releases, the first of which was our what we call 2.1, and then we did the majority of the development work for our 2.2 release, some of which went live a bit in towards the end of the period, and most of it went live just after the period. But we have developed a number of new functionality elements, some of which are unique in the portal space in the UK. For example, the ability for our consumers to visit the site and find greener choice properties with a higher than average EPC rating, or with some specific features all around sustainability. There's the ability to find properties that have particular accessibility requirements, and a very popular one for our lettings consumers who visit pet-friendly properties can now be specifically searched for. They're just a couple of examples of major steps forward we've taken in the period to really make our site the best, most easy-to-use search site in the UK. And as Simon mentioned earlier, we know that we attract serious property seekers. So what is a serious property seeker? That's someone who isn't just browsing, who isn't just having a look around and see what's around, what their neighbour's house is worth, or what the house down the road has just come on for. These are people who actually want to transact. And we know from our conversion rates that we are significantly improving every year on those numbers of people that we attract to the site. Our conversion rate, which Simon mentioned earlier, 6.8%. That's up from 6.5% in FY22. And if you wanted to look at how that benchmarks against the market leader, you'll see on their annual report, but it's significantly higher than the market leader's conversion rate. We had 13% increase in those people who said, yes, I would like to receive a property alert from On The Market. And interestingly, on the right, we ask consumers every month how serious and how confident they are that they will buy or rent a property within a period of time. And as you can see on that chart on the right-hand side, 73% of all of those responders, and I'll come to the numbers later, indicated that they were confident that they would buy a property in the next 3 months. And a further 19% were confident they'd buy something within 6 months. So we know from this slide here, categorically, that we are attracting those serious property seekers, the people who actually want to transact in the marketplace. Moving on to software, the software pillar, we are determined to create best-in-class software for our estate agents and for our customers to be able to benefit from the innovations that we are developing from our software suite. And we now have 4 very clear products, 3 of which are pretty much new, weren't really signposted last year because they were still in development, but are now in either beta test or live. Just briefly on what they are, TechLet is a lettings workflow. It covers an automation of what happens when a tenant says, I will let a property, to when they move in. Much of that can be automated, and TechLet does exactly that, prompting the consumer to provide a tenant reference, prompting them to put their deposit on account, prompting them to set up open banking, all of those things that can be done through an automated gamification style that don't need a physical presence from an agent. And these really do help to solve real world problems from our estate agent customers, because many of these interactions happen after an agency branch has closed, therefore real automation to speed up the process. Tech CRM is our own end-to-end CRM suite. Well, this has only recently been launched, and we are developing it all the time. We're constantly bringing new updates to it, and over the next couple of months we'll see another major release. And that really does move to having our own portal and our own software solution working hand in hand in real time, which could be real value to our customers, but also what we would call sticky revenue, because software as a service is a very sticky product, and therefore building up more awareness of our brand and more products being purchased from us. And then just briefly, the last two, Tech Hub really does help to have 24/7 interaction between consumer and agent. The hub is provided ahead of an agent being instructed by the consumer, and then they can see updates on their conveyancing milestones, on their lettings journey. They'll be prompted for things like mortgage and insurance, and therefore really helping agents earn money for themselves, but also to keep in contact with that consumer even after the transaction has ended. And then last but not least, TechWeb, the ability to provide a full website to our customers with SEO and PPC campaigns attached, and the benefit of agents being able to have leads that come from the website go straight into the CRM. So these four products really do combine to provide a really good suite of software tools to our agent customers. And a very brief reminder on the journey. We acquired the business in May 2021. It was called Glanty back then. We rebranded and renamed that to On The Market Software late last year. And since then, we've seen, as you can see on the screen, significant increases in the number of licenses being adopted. That's starting for the first time to flow through to the revenue line, but is in exactly the same way that we did with the estate agency. We are onboarding customers on free of charge contracts and then converting them to paying over time. The period's normally 3 to 6 months, depending on the scale of the agent in question. And as you can see from the first couple of slides, that conversion from free to paying is very significant and does work for us. So we're adopting the same strategy there. Moving on to data, the data pillar. So we are continuing to create innovative data tools that help our agents win new instructions by showing themselves as experts in the market, but also for our house builders, giving them insights into market data around sites that they are building, might build in the future, or looking to exit, and really helping with business decisions by providing this suite of data tools. Our own proprietary Smart Mail tool, for example, allows agents to prospect and canvass, sending out letters to potential new customers to be able to onboard customers in terms of valuations and then win instructions from it. We've got some other specific data plays with our third-party data provider, Sprift. We have our own property sentiment index, which I'll come to in a minute. And we have bespoke data solutions, things that we're starting to do for our larger customers who are approaching us, looking to target a specific demographic or a specific location, and we are using all of the data at our fingertips alongside our relationship with Sprift to really give these significant and valuable data insights to our customers. And that's working well. Engagement is very good. If you look at the stats on the screen now, through our third-party relationship with Sprift, our customers, our agents, are now downloading around 8,000 of these market appraisal guides a month. We think it's the best-in-class appraisal guide. If I was going back into agency, which I did for 20 years, I would absolutely be using that guide. And significant numbers per month, downloading it and using it, proving that it's valuable to them. I mentioned PSI a couple of times, but our property sentiment index, which is what we call it, generates regularly around 80,000 responders a month. That makes it the largest property sentiment index of its kind in the UK, because it's specifically asking people how confident they are about moving home or selling home. And the numbers I gave you earlier very clearly indicate that we have serious property seekers on the site. And as I mentioned on the previous slide, our Smart Mail product, that's now generating 40,000, give or take, direct mail prospecting letters a month. And interestingly as well, we also generate an additional margin from the print as well as from the platform itself. So really good use of data and tools. And just one final insight on data. We're now for the first time providing even more detail about those particular consumers if they say that they are happy for that detail to be provided. We have two journeys. We have rent ready and buyer ready. These are both optional for our consumers. They don't have to fill this out. But if they do, that means that we can pre-qualify those leads and show the agents in question that those people are serious about buying and renting. And when they fill out those additional questions, there's a serious button, and they will then have access to be able to see more behavior and more questions answered by those consumers. And as you can see from the little screenshot on the right, which is literally a screenshot from one of the email leads, we can then show our customers that a particular buyer is serious, that they have viewed more than a few properties on the site, that they are clicking on alert emails, that they are sending leads and that they do have a property to sell. Vital pre-qualification opportunity and information to our agent customers, adding to the value through our data insights. Excuse me. Moving to the consumer piece, we are generating and continue to generate significant interest for our AVM, our automated valuation model. That's why year on year our valuation numbers are up 26%. The prior year it was already up 70%, so significant growth in the most valuable type of lead to our agent customers, which is valuation leads. But we've combined that with other marketing strategies. The period that we're reporting on was our largest ever TV and media campaign, really focusing people on getting a valuation, find out what your home is worth with our free online valuation estimates. And we're generating thousands and thousands of those valuations every month. And we've combined that with other tools and other functions, conventional PPC and display ads, to make sure that we're getting that message home to our consumers. And we've just launched a service called On The Market Connect, which is another innovative marketing strategy, and I'll be coming to that very shortly. We mentioned AVM, the automated valuation model, and this is very significant for us now, generating really good revenue streams, but also incredible value for our agent customers. A consumer visits the site, as you can see on the screenshot on the left-hand side, and if they fill out some basic information over a few pages, they get an estimate, just a rough guide of what the property might be worth. It's based on an algorithm. It's not just based on average sale price plus or minus. It's based on an algorithm with a value attributed to each room, the condition of that room, whether it's got parking or garden, and therefore we think it's a significantly accurate measure. And we provide that to our consumers who visit the site. And then they have the option to be able to choose one of 4 agents to come round and do a physical valuation. Agents pay to be one of those 4 in the slots. It's limited, so they have to pay to be on those slots, and there's value for them. But in addition now, we are providing the ability to upgrade to another product, which is broadly housed in On The Market Connect, which allows us to be able to contact those consumers on behalf of the agent, warm them up, see if they're ready for evaluation, and when they are ready, serve them oven ready back to our agent customers. So a really innovative way of being able to farm and manage our database through nurture services, which we will come on to shortly. So moving on to the next section, how are we going to drive ARPA growth, average revenue per advertiser? We've come a long way. As Simon said, we've had a record year in terms of revenue and in terms of profitability, but how will we drive this ARPA growth in the future? And we're going to do it very simply by delivering what our customers want. Those of you who've been on previous presentations will have heard about our town hall sessions, and that's where I sit and listen to thousands of agents a year on virtual town halls, understanding what they need and want from us as a business. And many of the products and features that you've seen so far in this presentation has been as a direct result of the feedback we receive from our customers, which we believe is almost unique in this space. And we're very pleased to be able to involve our customers in the delivery of new products and services. And we've demonstrated, and I've just described, that we are very much focusing on valuation leads. And we know that through this suite of products that we've got, 15 to 20 different products, we know that if agents are taking a combination of those products, they can generate 3 times as many valuation leads per month than if they just take the standard package. And we've proven that very clearly, that from the base package, the base listing package generates a certain number, but taking a majority of those features, functions, and valuation products does 3x or more those valuation opportunities. So as Simon alluded to earlier, we have created packages, and that is how we are going to grow ARPA in the future. This has just been released. It's only 3 or 4 weeks old in terms of how we've evolved this, and we've just launched it to market. But there are a number of different packages now, from cheapest to most expensive, all providing different products that we've built over the last 18 months, building this product mix, and now we're combining it in extra value packages for our agent customers. And you'll note that if I go back to the previous slide briefly, you'll note that actually if the agent wants to benefit from this 3x monthly valuation leads, they will need to take the whole suite of those packages in order to be able to get the most value out of it, which carries the price points that you can see on the bottom. But also worth noting that even at the cheapest package, that would significantly move our ARPA forward. Our current ARPA average at 210, that 299 package would significantly move ARPA forward, even from the cheapest of the three options. So we're excited to see how this will develop in the future and look forward to being able to give updates on that at the right time. I mentioned earlier On The Market Connect, and this is what it is. In essence, this is nurture as a service. We're the first major portal in the UK, in fact, one of the only businesses in the UK to be offering this nurture service. And this is effectively where we have a team of experts who are dedicated to calling our consumers, warming them up, finding the right kind of potential seller and landlord, and then serving them oven ready for evaluation back to the agent customers. There's a simple small subscription fee, and then we charge on a success basis. So we charge on a cost per valuation basis. And this is a really good way that we've taken the expert knowledge that we have of the agency market, understand what our agents want, and then coming up with a product that solves that real world problem. I can say from first-hand experience, when I was running branches in the last 20 years as an agent, I knew for a fact that in my branch, there'd be thousands of records sitting in our database that we wouldn't necessarily have been calling all the time. Yet I knew for certain that there were potential valuation leads, potential landlords, and potential hot buyers in that data. But because agency is sometimes a reactive business where we take a lead, we go and do a viewing, we do a valuation, but there isn't time or resource to call through those historic data. And we solve that real world problem through On The Market Connect. We've mentioned a couple of times about new homes developers. And as Simon said, actually, if you look at average revenue per advertiser, ARPA, with many of our competitors, their ARPA for new homes actually higher than estate agency. We only launched the new homes business in the last quarter of 2019. So it's only been going a few years. And despite that, we're at 92% of the stock levels of the market leader, which is a massive step forward for us and really puts us on par with the market leader in terms of stock. But also we're generating additional revenue streams through the products and services that you see on the screen. And we hope to have even more ARPA growth from that stream in the future. And we also support our ARPA growth through our commercial partnerships. Those of you who've been following our updates, certainly in the last 2 years since I joined the business, will know that every time we give an update, we're talking about a couple of new commercial partnerships. And we've now built this suite of 15 commercial partners who together either provide services free of charge by simply being an On The Market customer, or a light version or a discounted version that we've been able to negotiate of the product, platform, or service. And it's through a combination of all these partnerships that now it really makes some real sense for our agent customers, because by just being a customer of On The Market, benefiting from these partnerships and all the discounts or free provision that we have, agents can save more than £8,000 a year. And we have a calculator on our site now that allows agents to go into the professional section, put down all the service providers that they're currently using, and then we do a calculation for them to find out how much they could save if they came to us and used the products and services through us. So not just a tool for winning new customers, but particularly a tool for keeping those new customers and showing significant value to them, the value that we provide just by being a member of On The Market. So let's move in the final few minutes just through to some new innovations and how we're leveraging our platform in the future. And the first one will be the delivery of our new app. Now, I can't share too many screenshots or representations here because I don't want to give too much away to our competitors. But suffice to say, when I briefed my development team a few months ago to build the new app, I said it wanted to be the best property search app in the world. So no pressure to the development team there then. But what we are building is something that's very much focused around the consumer. That you think how much consumer behavior and consumer buying habits have changed, even in the last 5 years. Many apps that were built 5 years ago are now out of date and slightly out of touch. We're going to build something from the ground up, focusing very clearly on those serious property seekers. And crucially, in the future, the app will lead the way and the desktop will come later. Historically, we've done this the other way round, But in future, like many of the top tech firms out there in the world, the app will be absolutely leading the way in terms of innovation in the future. And we've been building and continue to build our consumer relationships, and things that are coming up over the next few months is that we'll continue to evolve that. We built in the last period My Place, which we launched just after that period. And that really is a central hub for consumers to visit that hub, find out about their own home, their property value, average values in their area, what's selling and letting in their location and around it. But they can also now collaborate search experiences, so they can collaborate with others. So if there's a household of 4 people, a couple of kids, or if there's 4 renters moving in together, they can collaborate and share their searches in real time. They'll be able to comment and chat on them in real time, and they'll be able to save their VIPs, very important places. So these are things that are important to them, like a place of work, like a pub, like a school. And when you then search on the site, the distance to those VIPs will be displayed in the property details. So really innovative ways to encourage our consumers to engage with the site and come back to it time and time again. And we're also focusing on this monetization strategy, which I alluded to at the start, focusing on serious property seekers to help monetize our consumer traffic and provide additional value for them. Shortly after the period, we were delighted to announce the launch of On The Market Money, which is our first foray into consumer monetization. That's with our third-party partner, L&C Mortgages, which are one of the largest mortgage broking groups in the UK. Delighted to have that partnership, and that means that for the first time on our site, it is possible for consumers to get a calculator for stamp duty, a calculator for their mortgage affordability, and therefore generate a lead that, if that leads to written business through L&C, there is revenue to be generated for us. But also we're developing a product that enables agents to develop revenue for themselves by having their own third-party provider listed on their site, or indeed, if they don't have one, associating with L&C as well. And we've got a number of other things coming down the pipeline. I mentioned On The Market Connect earlier, which is another way to monetize those serious property seekers visiting the site by taking all of the leads that the agent customers have but don't have time to deal with, to make sure we're focusing on them and providing valuation opportunities. And there's a couple of other things coming as well, which I won't give away today, but hopefully we will update you in the future. And we are and were the first UK portal to join the AI revolution. I could probably spend an hour just talking about the opportunities for AI, and I think it is, I'm seeing on the other side of my screen in one of the questions that's been raised by one of our participants. So I will come to that in a bit more detail at that point. But suffice to say, we have absolutely joined the AI revolution. And for the first time now in the UK property portal space, it is possible for someone to go onto our site and through natural language search type, for example, 3-bedroom flats in Brighton up to 600,000 with a garage and with a garden. And not only will it do all of those matching criteria, it'll also choose the ones with garden and garage and then sort them so that those are at the top through our wish list function. So really excited to see how this develops. And naturally, the app and AI utilization will probably go hand in hand as well. So although this is early stages, I'm very excited about the future. We've actually got something for our customers as well, our agents and house builders, but I'll come on to that in the Q&A because I can see that is one of those questions. So just to close, then I'll pause briefly, a quick summary and outlook. So if you look at the competitor marketplace, you look at our journey since our launch, which I highlighted at the start, we've done significantly well in order to be able to build our brand awareness, build our revenue models. We are profitable, we are cash generative, but look at the opportunity in the marketplace. Look at the opportunity of the market leaders. And whilst we don't go and say that we're instantly going to get to those levels, there is so much opportunity in this space that we think it's been absolutely the right thing to do to expand out to these 4 pillars of operational growth, which allows us to diversify our income streams and focus on those new areas all within the property ecosystem. And we estimate that there's about £400 million a year spent directly with the portals. And as such, our current spend sits just below 8%. So we have a relatively small proportion and a relatively small share of wallet. But look at the opportunity. Every 1% of Portal's share of wallet that we get equates to another 4 million in revenue. And this is exactly why we're continuing to build our product mix. We're continuing to build our software solutions, and we're continuing to look at innovative ways to continue to monetize that the customers we have and also the consumers. All of this market share and all of this share of wallet can be increased by actively pursuing that share of wallet growth through our 4-pillar strategy: Portal, software, data and market intelligence, and consumer communication and monetization. And just finally, a bit of brief feedback from our agents. Our agents are happy with our progress. Some might even say they want us to go even faster, but they are encouraged with the new platforms and products that we have built. They're encouraged by the fact that we're continuing to innovate and deliver things that they have deliberately asked for, and then we are providing it to them. And very good sentiment overall from our customers, who are pleased to be part of On The Market and looking forward to its future. And as I'm sure those of you who followed our story will know, there is continued concern, let's be clear, over the market leader. And whenever a release comes out in the trade press or other media, there is that strength of concern. And my view, rather than say anything negative about the competition, which I always make a point of never doing, what I will say is there is a solution. The only true agents portal that was founded by agents, that has moved and evolved from being something that was an idea through to IPO, and now fast forward 2.5 years to a profitable cash generative business that has agency customers at its heart. Everything we do is focused on making sure the customer has as much value as possible, and many of the innovations have come from our customers. And just finally, before we close, we had a successful year in terms of awards. We were recognised as one of the Sunday Times Best Places to Work 2023. We won the award with the trade supplier, and we're also awarded the Super Brands list. So we now appear on the Super Brands list, which is a list of the top UK businesses. There's about 3,500 brands compete for this award. And effectively, this means that we now have significant traction in either brand awareness, customer awareness, or product and service mix, innovation, strategy, or indeed just overall business delivery. So very proud to be awarded a Super Brand, and particularly proud to be awarded gold at the UK CX Awards in late last year. We beat off many other companies, hundreds of other companies, making sure that we were awarded this recognition for our town hall listening series. That's how we got this recognition, because the panel decided that actually listening to our customers in the scale that we have done it is unique in the marketplace and worthy of the gold award. And we are also mindful of our responsibilities from a social and sustainability point as well. And we continue to engage with our third-party provider EcoAct to work out our sustainability goals for the future. We continue to develop and evolve our working groups so that our own staff can have input into the future strategy of the business and have their say on things that are important to them. We did in the period, for example, launch the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion working group as well, and many other things that we're focusing on to make sure that we are a responsible business too. So just to close with an outlook, we've had a positive start to the full year, and we are currently trading year to date in line with board expectations. But it would be completely remiss of me not to acknowledge that these are challenging times. Macroeconomics remain very uncertain, both in terms of mortgage affordability, stubborn inflation, the rising cost of living, and also the ongoing geopolitical events. And our cancellation levels have been a bit higher than we expected, but we are putting mitigation measures in place, particularly with packages, which will provide exceptional value in the additional products and services that we provide. The sales market is tough. There are quite a few consumers who are waiting to see what the market might do, waiting to adjust to the new normal. And of course, historically, we all know that these rates of 0.5% or 1% are not long-term rates, and that once the consumer public becomes comfortable with the new normalized rate in terms of mortgage and in terms of bank interest rate, we believe that there will be more people coming back to the marketplace. But at the moment, the sales market is particularly challenging, and the lettings market is a bit challenging as well. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen, this is widely reported in the mainstream press, landlords have exited the market. due to either additional compliance or governance or indeed tax implications of their portfolio. And so there is less stock, which means stock levels are rising, but that also leads to fewer transactions, because if there's less stock, values rising, and people competing for those lettings properties, then that means fewer transactions, although the values are higher. But despite all of that, which I think would be, as I said, remiss of me not to mention, despite all of those external factors, the board still believe that the group's operation and financial progress provides this really strong platform for growth in the future. And it's for those reasons that we believe now is absolutely our time. We've built this fantastic portal, which is best in class. We've got even more potential to grow through these two-sided network effects. And if we go and target that increase in share of wallet, we're aiming to be our customers' core strategic partner for the future. And I aim, and we think this is possible, that we have built the foundations to become the leading property search site in the UK. That's not going to be easy, but with our diversification strategy, with moving into different income streams, but still focusing on the most important part of it, the portal and valuation opportunities, we have the opportunity and the potential to become the leading site in the UK. So a final slide from me, just as a summary. From an investment case perspective, we've got incredibly strong foundations. We've got really good, strong agent support. They take part in our innovation and delivery strategy. We have strong engagement from serious property seekers who actually want to buy or let something. There's opportunities for further growth through our diversification strategy. And without doubt, unequivocally, we have demonstrated now that we are more than just a portal. We are a differentiated tech-enabled property business with a whole suite of products, features, functionality to help agents do their job more quickly, more efficiently, and more cost effectively too. Thank you so much for your time. If you want to contact us, you can contact us on any of those channels. And I will pause briefly, take a sip of water, and pass back to Paul.
Jason, Simon, thank you very much indeed for a great presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please continue to submit your questions using the Q&A tab situated just in the right-hand corner of your screen. But while the team take a few moments to review those questions submitted today, I'd like to remind you that recording the presentation along with a copy of the slides and the published Q&A can be accessed via your investor dashboard. Guys, as you can see, not too long for a sip of water, we have had a number of questions in throughout today's presentation. Thanks to all the investors for submitting those. Could I just hand back to you, Jason, just to read out the question where appropriate to do so and give you a response or pass on to Simon? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. With this, there are quite a few, but I'll go through as many as I can just for time reasons in the remaining time we have left. So the first question I spotted come in very early. So thank you to Sammy. You sent that early into the presentation. I did tell you that I'd come back to it. So Sam's question was, are there any AI opportunities you are adopting with the data you have to serve up opportunities to customers? And brilliantly preempted, Sam, because that exact topic came up in the presentation. But just to add colour to that, we think there's enormous opportunity. You know, we've just started scratching the surface. The ability to be able to provide natural language search into our search functionality is a good step forward for us. And we think we're pleased with the outcome at the early stages and we're the first UK portal to adopt this technology. But we think there's lots more opportunity with AI, particularly as we develop the new app. We think AI with the app could work very well together, but also for customers, which I mentioned or touched on earlier. You think about the process, everyday lives of our estate agents and house builders, in particular agents. If you take a new instruction, you've got to write all the details up, you've got to find out all the points of interest, you've got to write the description, you've got to collate all that information to upload to the portals. And we have developed, and it's just in beta stages at the moment, a description writer tool, which enables the agents to be able to put the bullet points in and the main highlights of the property, and it will create a description of that property in a few hundred words to really save time. I remember that used to take me 45 minutes ago, and this is, again, saving time. But I think, to answer your question, Sam, we're only just scratching the surface there. I see a future where a consumer can visit our site and book a valuation without tapping anything in, arrange a viewing, they can get more information about a particular property, they can download a property information form with some additional info on that property. So I think we're just scratching the surface, and I'm very excited to see how that will develop in the future. I hope that's answered your question, Sam. Moving on to another questioner, David S. Thank you for your question, David. Could you take the platform or parts of the software international? Well, Well, I'll be honest, David S. I think we've focused very heavily on the UK market because that's obviously where the vast majority of our customer base is. And I think we're right to do that and continue to do so. The UK market, in terms of a conveyancing process, is different from other parts of the world. And therefore, the software solution with its conveyancing milestones and lettings milestones might not have direct overlap or relevance in foreign or overseas markets, but there could be some opportunity in the future. And in terms of the portal space overall, we are not alone in terms of the competitive nature of the portal space. I speak to many of the European and sometimes global chief executives of those portals. And like us in the UK, there's usually a market leader and there's a couple of others. There isn't normally 10 or 15, and that market leader's usually been around for the longest period of time. And then you've got the two that are competing for that second spot. And that the same can apply to many of the other European markets and indeed around the world. I think there's much more value, therefore, in focusing on our position in our own marketplace. But never say never. I wouldn't rule out looking at anything in the future. But to answer your question directly, not right now. We have a question from Sam has asked another question, so I'll come to that again. How much additional revenue would you make it, say, 50% of your agents took additional services rather than the 30% currently? Thanks for your question, Sam. I don't think we're in a position to be able to say what that revenue could be or would be, because we simply don't know, because it's sometimes this combination of those products or services. For example, in that 30% mark, some of those agents will be taking one product and some agents will be taking all of the products, and then somewhere in between. So whilst I can't give you a specific answer in terms of what the uplift might be in terms of revenue, what I do know is that it would significantly move that ARPA level up and continue to add to that ARPA level. And we provide good updates on ARPA growth, both in terms of agency and new homes, and we look forward to seeing how those develop in the future. And I know we're running out of time. I've had my little buzzer in my ear. So Arthur B has asked a question: what should we expect in terms of development costs for the platform going forward? Simon, I don't know if you want to give any indications there.
Yeah, thanks, Titty. I think broadly consistent with the current year. If you look at the annual report, we spend about 3.5 million on development across the group. That's the portal, the software business, and the app, I should say, and the software business. So that's a group number. I think characterization would be consistent year over year would be the current year of that one.
Thank you very much, Simon. And I think that is thanks to all those who answered the questions, by the way, asked questions. I hope we've been able to answer them sufficiently for you. But I think that's just about me out of time. So I shall hand back to Paul.
You've got time just for one last little wrap up. So thanks very much indeed for covering off all those questions. Of course, any further questions come through, the team will have the ability to review those, and we'll publish responses on the Investor Meet Company platform. But Jason, just any final few words just before redirecting investors to give you your feedback?
Of course. Thank you, Paul. And thanks so much to everyone for your time in listening to our journey and our story. We have absolutely shown now that we are more than just a property portal, with a whole suite of features, functions, products, services, and other things to help agents and house builders do their job more quickly, more cost effectively, more time efficiently too. And as you saw from the last reporting period, that 4-pillar strategy is absolutely working and starting to take shape. We were pleased to record profits, record EBITDA, record adjusted operating profit, and a significant growth in the average revenue per advertiser, the ARPA number, for both new homes and for estate agency. And through the combination of the packages that we talked about and through other products and services, we are confident, despite a challenging market, of moving forward significantly in that ARPA as well. We are pleased to be the Agents Portal, founded by agents way back in 2014 and 15. We continue to have agent ownership as part of our shareholding as an important factor of what we do. And crucially, we are listening to our customers. This is very rare in this space and probably very rare in the UK market. We actively listen and engage with all of our customers, large and small, find out what they want and need from us, and then deliver things that they've asked for, rather than making big assumptions that sometimes are not in the same path as the customers or house builders are expecting. So we're really pleased with our growth, but there's so much more potential with the future. Thank you so much for following us. Thank you for listening to us tonight. And just a final thank you very quickly, if I may, to Simon, who's filled in for me for Tom amiably in the last 6 months. So particular thank you to Simon for his work in that interim period. But that's all from me, Paul. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Jason, Simon, thanks indeed for updating investors today. Can I please ask investors not to close the session, to be automatically redirected to provide your feedback in order the team can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete and is greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the management team of On The Market PLC, we'd like to thank you for attending today's presentation, and good evening to you all.